Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Trani here. I'm going to dive into animating designs. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want to welcome you all. Good to have you here. Jan's in the house. Afroja, Garth, and everyone feel free to say hello. Cody Bear, Christian, Michelle, awesome. So good to see you. So say hello in chat. Thank you for that, Michelle. Audio and video are good. That's what I like to see. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy you guys are here. So we're going to go ahead and show you design. I want to talk about animating designs, sort of creating designs as well. Like here's kind of what I have so far. Let's actually just kind of jump into this full screen, right? So I have this kind of going on, which is kind of cool. So this is a design I've done before. I was thinking about animating it. My goal, I do have orange and teal going on. I was actually going for red and green, and it's not quite there. So either way, thank you, Rick. Good to have you here. And again, this is just sort of a simple design that I have created that we can animate. We could do a number of things. Also wanted to kind of jump on my iPad too if we have time. So see right in here, I have a number of elements. Got this hand. Oh yeah, that looks good. In fact, I'm going to start labeling these. Top hand, like so. Let's make sure that includes everything, including this. And this blood. Oh yeah, there's blood there. This is the circle, right? Hope you guys like this design. Yeah, love drawing roses. Cool. So do I, right? This is actually pretty darn tricky. So let's just delete this. Some of those extra elements. You can see my rose right over here, right? And this one in here. What you can do is you can actually take this. You could always turn this into a brush. That's what I'll do to just kind of save me time. I'll take this and then drop this, turn it into a brush. We'll make this an art brush. Art brush means it's going to stretch, right? We'll click OK, and there's our art brush. We'll go right up here and select that brush and draw, and here's our flower. Right, like that. So again, it's not colorized, right? But you can see how you can get a really cool design really quickly, right? Thanks to brushes. Love it. All right, Tanya. Good to have you here. So again, that's really fun what we can do there just with a simple drawing we've created right over here. So thinking of doing something like that. I want this to kind of animate, so it's going to be the rose coming up around the wrist, the hand moving down, right? And then this blood kind of dripping. I haven't decided whether I'm going to include the blood or not. But yeah, that's what I could do. Okay, so let's take this. We already have that as a brush, so I could delete that. Let's see if I could drag this out. Boom. All right, this is also something I didn't know for years, right? I would love to hear your tips that you didn't know for years, but I didn't know you can go in here. I always saved the original, but you have the original right in here. If you just click and drag it out and drop it, this is your original file. I never knew you can do that. I'll drop on this one. This happens to be a pattern brush, but you see we have the corners and then the middle part. And I was just blown away by that, right? I'm like, I had no idea. Why didn't anybody tell me? So I don't really need this one. I could delete that, right? Don't need that layer. Again, we're just doing our cleanup, right? Because the layers are going to matter for us. Notice that this design is 1080 by 1350. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you. Michelle didn't know that. Oh, good. Okay, and Cody Bear likes the blood edition. Okay, cool. Well, then I'm more apt to keep it in, and that's why I like you guys. So, awesome. Michelle didn't know that either. Again, blew me away. It's like, oh, man, that's so nice. Because usually to edit it, you just double-click, right? So if I edit it, I could double-click. By the way, we could do hue shift, click OK, go over here. We'll change the color of this line. It's not going to be perfect, but I'll just change that to a green. Right, and now we have, let's get rid of that. now we have like, you know, a not perfect flower, but we could always tint it the color of the line too. But that's usually what I do is I double click and then I change those settings. Okay, we got our circle. Let's delete that. We're getting all of this squared away. I have this hand, which is not, oh yeah, put these two parts together. But this is sort of the design that I'm going with. And I just need to start kind of putting these parts together a little bit more efficiently if I can. Right? Like this needs to go with the rose layer. So we'll just drop that in like that. Okay, there's also this part of the hand. Guys, it is like a week until Christmas. And then 2 weeks till my birthday, which is December 29th. So, yeah, that's what's going on around here. And just to clue everybody in, since I only have, this is my last design masterclass, I'm going to be going on my sabbatical in January. So I am actually leaving Thursday of next week is our last working day. And then I come back in February like 9th. It's insane. But again, I've worked 10 plus years to get this time off. So it's my 10-year sabbatical. So I'm going to miss you guys in January, but I'm going to still be creating and doing stuff, just so you know. And that's kind of what's going on with my schedule. Let's take these. Let's group this together. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Right on. Thank you, Rick. You know, Rose. Naming all these layers. Let's go in here. Let's name this. Let's call this hand. It's our main hand. I don't need this layer. And this is the cleanup we do. So we've actually boiled all this down to essentially 4 layers, which is actually pretty good, right? Currently have this saved in Creative Cloud because I was thinking about adding some hand lettering to it, but I'm going to do hand lettering in my my Photoshop Masterclass. So yeah, there will be replays during my slots, just so you know. Yeah, I'm so excited about some of this stuff. Okay, we will save this. We'll call this Rose Hands. I usually just keep this name really short. I'm just going to call this Rose, actually, okay? So I'll just save that on my desktop as Rose, right? Got that done. Right, I could do some simple animations of just this building if I want to, but I'm going to use good old After Effects right here. So here we are in After Effects. I have a couple other designs I'm gonna reference in a little bit. Maybe I can reference them now. Maybe I can, huh? Do I? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. So speaking of previous streams, this is a previous stream I did on animating lines. I could show you how to do this, but this is also sort of taking a design and animating it. So it's a similar style, but these lines are actually building as we scrub through this timeline. So I can probably quickly show you how to make this. Would be good if you guys are interested. But again, I already did a whole live stream on it. So there is that. It's probably not going to be as simple as I think it's going to be. But anyways. If you're curious about that, we will make a shape with no fill and a stroke. Here's our line that a shape layer right in here, this ellipse. And then we have the ellipse path. So right down here, this is where that magic happens. If you're interested in this, I drew out a shape, and I could import a shape as well, but I just drew out a circle, okay? So now let me move my big honking head to the other side of the screen. So I'm getting in the way. But you can see right down here, I love the simplicity and magic of trim paths. Do you guys like this? Yes, you're wondering if you need to learn After Effects. Personally, yes. You could start out in Photoshop and use that timeline. But you're going to quickly want to jump into After Effects. So here's what I just created. I just created this layer, and we'll call it circle. Ignore these other ones. In fact, you can click on this little button. I love this because sometimes you'll download a composition. Doesn't that hide it? Oh, here we go. This guy, sorry. There we go. So I have just this circle layer. Everything else is hidden. Okay, here's my circle, where it's actually going to animate in. Should probably turned off everything as well. So let's just turn those off. There we go. Okay, so, and just isolating this, I have this circle. We'll twirl this down. We'll go to add, and we'll add trim paths. So we're going to add to the contents trim paths. It brings up this trim paths. And here's my ellipse, all those properties, right? My stroke, my fill. Right in here, we will have the start and the end of that line. So I can come in here and say, hey, you know what? Start, I could add 2 keyframes. When I click on these stopwatches, I get these lovely little keyframes. Bam, bam. Okay. I usually want the circle to be complete maybe 5 seconds in. So I'll scrub that over, 5 seconds in. And now I can take either one of these starts or ends and I can adjust it. So I'm actually going to make the start at 100% and the end at 100%. But now I'm basically animating that line come together like so. If I want to animate it out, I can take the end and take that down to 0. Now it's like the line. Actually, I could even do something like this. I can stagger these, but now you can see that this is going to go out. And then you can see that line kind of chase it, which is kind of fun, right? Now remember, everything else is there, right? All these other lovely lines. Let's turn this on. Let's turn everything back on. Let's take this circle. This stroke is massive. Let's take that down to again, 1 point maybe. 1 or 2 points. Oh, maybe about 2, because I want to make it about the same size as everything else, 2. And now we have that circle animating in with everything else. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's okay. It's kind of breaking that line, but you get the idea. Cool. Hello. Vahid is waving from Iran. Good to have you here, man. So again, hopefully you can see the power of that. And then you can start to take a bunch of these designs. And what I did is I started running them all together. So let's take a look at this one. I'll hit the space bar. We get our first animation. Right? We get our second one. Right, and I just have one animation roll into the next, and it's kind of fun. Cool. Again, a lot of fun. Take this, use it. All right, now back to our design. Okay. Let's go. Maybe I'll make an entirely new composite now that you know how that is done. So I'm going to close this project. Because this is how After Effects would look when you first launch it, right? From here, we will go to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure everything is in its same folder. So we'll go out to my desktop. Look at all this messiness, and we'll do this rows folder. We'll take this rows, we'll put it in there. Everything is going to be in this lovely folder right here. I like to keep everything self-contained. Take this, and let's just save this to my desktop right in here in that same folder. There we go. Okay, let's delete that comp. Let's import it. Import that rows Illustrator file. We can layer options, merge layers into everything into footage, but I actually want to make a composition. Footage dimensions are going to be layer size, right? So I'll go to layer size. Hello, Froja. I see you. Stina over there as well on LinkedIn. Good to have you here. Awesome. Lorianne as well. EAI design. Awesome. So layer size, click OK. There it is. There it is, the layer size. You can see that it's actually giving me this black background. That's my black background by default. So I'll go to Composition, Composition Settings. And this is what it made. This was my Illustrator document size. But right down here, we have the background color that we could change to white. There we have it. Click OK. Boom. It's about 30 seconds long, and we can have some fun with this. All right. Sean and Becca are here. I'm drinking my peppermint coffee. All right. All right. Here's this rose. So this is what you get initially. You'll get this initial comp. It put everything in this composition, this rose composition. Double click, and then sure enough, here are all my layers. Top hand, the rose, the circle, everything is like that in the center. You could do Command K will bring up the document settings, composition settings. Right, but right in here, and in here we have a number of settings that we can work with. So we have this top hand. We could have this top hand start to animate in. So it's actually at its final position. And maybe I want it to come in over the course of maybe 4 seconds. And don't worry, we want to play with this time a lot, is the plan. Let me know if you guys have questions, because I'm here for you. I like this line style. So I'll twirl this down. Look at all these properties that I can animate. So I can say, hey, we want to animate the position and maybe the scale, maybe the rotation. I'll click on a couple things like that and it'll add these keyframes, right? But that's 4 seconds in. So I clicked it there, right? It adds those keyframes because they're in their final position. And then I scrub back to the starting, the 0, 0 point, and then I can animate it. So now I can take this hand, move it up, right? I can take this hand, I can rotate it. So let's just scrub on these numbers. We can rotate it like so and move it up some more, kind of like that. Okay. So we could have the hand kind of come in like that. Let's watch it. Comes in like so. I want it to actually slow down at this point, right? I'm going to add some easing right here. Easing is going to be the one thing that makes all your stuff look awesome, right? So let's right click. Let's go to Keyframe Assistant, and we're going to do an Easy Ease. So it's going to, I could just as easily do an Easy Ease Out. Yeah, let's do an Easy Ease Out. So that means it's just going to slow down as it reaches that final point. So notice how the icon for the keyframes changed, but I'll hit the space bar to start it, and then it will slow down into place. Like that. That's how that works. Cool. Muriel is here. Jenna, awesome. Can you set the background to transparent? Yes, actually the background is transparent. Great question. Right down here, this little transparency icon. Toggle transparency. Click on that. Yeah, you can see it actually is transparent. So I can make animated GIFs and have some transparency. GIFs can't have transparency, can they? Am I losing my mind? Maybe so. Either way, that is transparent. We'll see the hand come in. We can do the same thing with the other one. And we're going to kind of talk about some of the problems we're going to run into as well with this. Okay? Because one, Cody Bear's like, Cody Bear demanded that there would still be that blood there. So we really need to animate that. That's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be totally interesting. Oh, good. Do the Easy Ease is going to help you out. So I throw Easy Ease on everything. But I think they need to have more. They need to have bounce. They need to have rubber band and different things like that. And I really wish that would be, that's actually my feedback for the After Effects team. Because right in here, I want the ability to, like a rubber band, it would go past its final resting point. So rather than me using the graph editor, which is right in here, and it looks like craziness, let's click right here. Hello, crazy. But rather than dealing with any of these properties, just give me the ability to do rubber band, bounce, things like that. Okay, but that's the graph editor, and that's getting more complex than we need to be. Okay, plus and minus will allow you to zoom in on that timeline. That's fantastic. Let me fix this really fast. Let's crop the left side of, so you can see a little bit more. Okay, that's coming in. Other things are going to come in as well. I could take all of these and animate them at the same time. Or here's the thing. You ready for this? Oh yeah, maybe it's an expression, but still, Sean, I just want a drop down to pick it. I don't want to have to write an expression to do a bounce, you know? I think it's just overly complex. All right. So I have the hand, I have the rows. These two elements, they're two separate elements, but maybe I want them to be part of the same element, right? It's like, well, this is different, Paul. This is different. And that's what happens. You're like, oh, I want to animate these two in the same way that other hand animates in, right? But they're two separate elements. So again, you could do this a number of ways. And how I'm going to probably do this the easier way as I think about it. But you could always take, if you have two items and you want to put them in, you want to group them together, you can make them, right click, into a new composition. So just keep in mind, remember this rows is a composition. I could take these two elements and I can say, hey, put them in their own composition. So I could treat them as one element. So this would be hand and rows, right? And you can move all the attributes, all that fun stuff. But now they're in their own little grouped composition. So if I go back, we can see hand and rows. They're grouped right in this separate composition, like so. Okay? So that's one thing you can do. Let's do, is there an ungroup, an uncompositionize? I don't think there might be a composition. Let's see. I want to like remove it. I don't want it to be a composition anymore. Anyway, so I could always go in there. You can see those two items like so. I could take those. I could copy those. I could paste them back in. Right, there they are. So there's this and this. So those are two different ways of doing things. But I think I'm going to take these. They're at their final position. So I'm going to hit P for position. Now that we know how this works, I can hit P for position. It brings up position. Hit those two stopwatches. Bring it to the beginning. Take these both. Move them down. And let's also hit R for rotation. Let's hit U to show all the keyframes. But I'm going to have, for rotation, we're going to rotate it like so. Like so. Oh, this is a good reason. Yeah, those are rotating independently. There we go, kind of like that. That's what's happening. Zoop. Select these two, hit U. We're learning a lot. I know this is a design masterclass, but this is all about animating design, so hopefully that's okay. This could easily just belong in other sessions as well. So let's go to easy ease out like we were doing before. Here's the problem with easy ease out is what if we want to animate this back? So let's take these keyframes, we'll copy it, we'll paste them, we'll copy these, we'll paste these, right? So this is, ooh, so sorry about that. Zoom. That was an extreme zoom. But now, so I've copied and pasted these keyframes down here, right? But let's watch the animation. So it kind of hits right here. as opposed to, let's take these two, we're going to take the hand, and we're going to do easy ease. So now it's going to ease in and then ease out. So I'm going to use easy ease for all of these. Boom, boom. Okay, you get it. Let's time everything out. Let's make everything go for 4 seconds. And let's get this done, huh? You guys demand to be entertained, right? Let's clean it up. There we go. Oh, thank you, Michelle. So thank you. Again, I have second thoughts about sort of doing a design masterclass, and I'm covering animation, but yeah, thank you. I like doing it, and at the end of the day, we're trying to make ourselves more valuable to the people we work with, and we make designs and they demand motion. They're like, hey, I gotta be animated. So that's what we're doing here. We're animating it like so. Animating in, animating out, okay? We have parts that need to still be animated, right? So let's try this. The rows especially. So let's animate this rose. And by the way, this is kind of also by special request. Yeah, I was on Pinterest, everybody. I love Pinterest. Let's go to Instagram. Here's a case where, again, I did an animation, right? The initial design was cool, but I'm like, what'd be cool is if this was video. So I knocked this out. So I do have people asking if I'm going to show how this is made. So if I have time, I will. This is all After Effects, obviously video, and Cinema 4D. So that's what was used to create that. Okay. And this is what we're doing in 90 minutes. I'm going to show how to do we'll do some fun hand lettering, which will be a blast. Okay. All right, so that's a shout out for that project, just to get you excited about it. Let's go back to this one, because this one, again, the basics of animation are here, right? And now we have a case where we really want this content to be more organic, right? Could the AE file be embedded in an email? It would be if it would have to be an animated GIF. So that's the situation there. Oh, I'm glad you like that, Michelle. Yes, perfect. Steve knows what's up. Thank you. And Bruce is here. So Bruce, not to worry. We've gone from Illustrator. Here's our design. We want to animate it. We brought in that Illustrator file into After Effects, and we've just done this simple animation. But we have this lovely organic material. Actually, everything here is organic, right? Even that circle, we can animate that. But like this needs to bend and do some different things. So let's add some fun to it. So again, parallels between Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects. You learn one, you're gonna learn them all. Like right over here, we have, where's the Puppet Warp? There we go, Puppet Warp tool. Right over here. Again, I'm in Illustrator now. Puppet Warp, selecting that, Puppet Warp. We can have a number of pins, and with Puppet Warp allows me to bend this like kind of organically, right? So I want the same control in After Effects. Do we have that same control? Heck yeah! It started here first as well. So kind of zoom in on this, give me some space. But right up here, we have this Puppet Position Pin tool. So we have a pin here as well. Right, so Bruce, here you go. Click it right there. Now we can add our pins down here. And remember, this is on the rows. We'll click there. We'll add a pin here. We'll add a pin here. We'll add a pin here. We'll, throw in as many as we want. Maybe we'll put one right here at each sort of juncture. But now that I've put them there, you can see I could bend these. So this is really going to be fun to work with. Right? Again, Garth, the goal here is like learn one. You're like, hey, this, and that's what happens. Like this is the history of the puppet pin tools. It started in After Effects, and people are like, oh, I could really use that in Photoshop, and oh, I could use it in Illustrator. So it kind of starts in one and then trickles down. Okay, so I added all these pins. I added like 4 or 5 pins. Let's take a look down here. Sure enough, here's my puppet effect that I essentially added. Here's the mesh. And here we are. Twirl this down. So here's the puppet effect I just added. And here are all the pins. This is great because as soon as I see it over here, down here in my timeline, it means I can animate it. So this is super fun, right? So right in here, we can kind of twirl this down. I've already, oh, it looks like they're already there. We'll hit U is your Uber key, right? You hit U and it shows all of your keyframes. So here's all those points that I've added, right? They're already in their final position. So now I can go scrub back to the beginning. I have, this is already turned on, so I'm just pointing it out to you. But now I can have some fun in coming in here and grabbing this point, pulling it down, grabbing this, pulling it down, right? Kind of shoving all these parts into the person's hand is what I'm doing. Let's cram it all in there. Cram it in. Kind of like that. Why not? So we just made it all smaller. Now we'll scrub through this timeline. We can see it kind of come up and, you know, bring it into the center like so. Okay. Yes, it is in Photoshop too. Cool. So that's super fun, right? Isn't that? Right? And the key thing is we don't really want to have any dead space. So let's take this. Let's play with this some more. Because this is how I'd start to build this out. Like for real. Not just kidding anymore. I'm not kidding. I'm not messing around anymore. Let's just fit this. Yeah, everything's really small. Let's take a look at the timeline. Timeline's super long, right? This is just for Instagram. This is just for fun, right? But it's gonna come up here. I really want all these hands, the hands and everything I want to hold this final position because we need to have the rose touch the person's finger for that blood to drip down, and then we need to reverse it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab these keyframes. I'm going to grab these keyframes. I'm going to copy them, paste them, copy, paste. Yeah, imagine that, copy and paste. What a concept. And you'll notice if you ever do After Effects on a live stream, you quickly run out of space. It's too much. Let's stretch that out. I'll probably have this go for like 15 seconds long. Okay, so that means I need to adjust the timeline as well. So we'll go to composition. We did this earlier. Composition settings. What's it set to? 30? Something like that? Duration is my last used duration, which is a weird one. We'll make it 15. Why is my frame rate at 25 frames per second? Because that's what I used last time. We'll make it 30. We'll click OK. There we are. Okay, so now we have this. What just happened? Did I break it? Let's undo that. Command K. Make this 15, like so. There we go. It's back. Anywho, you guys get the idea. My goal is to knock this out in an hour. Let's get this done. How much time do I have left? 20 minutes. Ooh, you got a new computer. Finally enjoy After Effects again. Super simple. We'll have that kind of go up. It stretches out. The cool thing is we're going to have this stop, right? The hands will stop, but we'll still have some of this motion for the puppets. The puppet pins. Animate up. So it's going to stop. It keeps moving like so. Maybe I'll have this move up a little bit more. Oh yeah, like that, right? Maybe that's where it's gonna prick the person's hand. It's such a cruel, cruel flower. Maybe I'll go right there. Boom. And then we'll have that drip. So let's do it. Do I have any favorite After Effects plugins? No, I don't. But if you guys have your favorites, let me know, because I would love to hear them. Like, I don't use After Effects enough to want more plugins, so that's the situation I'm in. So would love to hear what plugins you like. All right, so let's do this dripping. And by the way, we could do this with all parts, and maybe I'm going to do that. Well, since I'm on this whole puppet warp kick, let's have some more fun with the hands, because the hands are going to have structure as well. So with this hand here, right? There it is. Let's have this hand move. Same concept. Puppet pin tool. Boom. Oh, we're going to add a lot here. That's for sure. Boom. Boom. Shaboom. Shablamo. Shaba. Shabby. Ara. Right? So many pins. Let's go right here. Even this one. When you're using pins, and this goes for all apps, you sometimes need to put a pin. This will be my stabilizer pin. So this one's not going to move. I use this to keep this spot in position so I can animate this more freely. Okay, so that's what I did to the hand. We'll hit U, and here's all of our keyframes. Oh yeah, look at all of them. Let's take all these wonderful little guys. A total of 11. Yeah, that's quite a few, right? They're in their final position. But down here, let's have some fun. Let's kind of move this. We'll take this. We'll move this in. Like that. Move this down. Right? We're just going to have some subtle movement. And it might not be perfect. It might look like Jell-O. And we're trying to not make it look like Jell-O. Right? So it's just going to be some little movements happening here. Okay? So that's all. So it's going to go... You might not even hardly notice it. There we go. So let's try this out. Yeah, you like hardly notice it. But again, maybe we actually have this extend a little further. So let's do this. So there we go. We can do that. This guy is a wild one. He's wild. So we'll have him like extend out a bit. Cool. So each movement is on a different layer. Yeah, each pin is on a different layer. Trust me, if I wanted to make this look really realistic, I would have this separated out into a separate composition, and these would be all separate elements. And I would have some masks that would animate to reveal, say, this part or something like that. So you could get really crazy with this animation, which again, this is a minimalist design. I think it's worth it to do that extra work to have this, you know, kind of grow around. So I think this part is going to be something that I change later on. But again, I'm trying to get this done in an hour. That is the goal. Let's take this crazy puppet pin. That guy's going to animate all the way over. And he grows like so. All right, so we have that do it. You guys understand how all of this works. You guys know how the puppet pin works. Let's go up. Let's take a look at this one. Zoop. Very flat. Like, look at how flat this hand is. Like, there's no life to it whatsoever. So let's give it some life. Again, doing the same thing. Using Puppet Pin Tool. Why not? All right, what's going on? Honestly, it's looking great. Well, you're too kind. You were too kind, because I'm like, okay, this has issues. But thank you. All right, so we have that. We'll scrub back. We'll hit U. That's our Uber key. U is going to reveal all of our keyframes. There they all are. Lovely. I don't even really need to worry about it. I'm just really just focusing on the timeline, right? Focusing on the timeline. Just scrubbing back to, you know, say 2 seconds, right? Moving things around a little bit, right? So the starting position might be like this. This will be like that. I'm going to get rid of that blood too. This is going to get worse before it gets better. It's getting wonky. That's okay. We'll just stretch that out, right? So we're kind of extending that hand. And then the hand should, see, that's what I want. Like, it's reaching in like that. Perfect. It touches. The person gets a little prick. It's like, why? You, Rose, you're hurting me. Where are you, Rose? Hit you. Bing. There it is. Maybe we'll go 7 seconds. Let's grab these. Sorry, I'm not looking at chat, but what are you guys saying? This is so neat. I've never touched After Effects. Oh, Cody, you're making my day, because that's the whole goal with this. You know, it's like, this is just animation for designers. That's all this is. Animation for designers. Right? We want you to, you know, if you happen to have Creative Cloud and all that stuff, like, make it approachable for designers, right? And this is what designers want to do. You want to take something. Cody, like, your stuff, again, just these little movements like this, you could create a looping animation, right? All you want. I could probably work on the overlappingness of this, but that's fine. You get the idea. So 7 seconds, that's when the prick happens. Let's take this hand. I have a problem with this hand now, okay? So let's take that hand. Let's go back out. Let's actually twirl this down. Guess what? Everything is right in here. So we have this hand, right? This is the top hand. Right click. Reveal in Finder. Let's do that. Boom. Here's our file, right? I actually want to edit it. So let's double click on it. Let's go out here. Let's take this crazy blood. It's like, oh, what are you doing, Paul? Look at that. It's disgusting. Let's cut it out. There, let's put it on its own layer. Let's paste it in, right? This isn't even that fancy of a shape, right? I could recreate all of this in After Effects, which I'll probably do. So let's just get rid of it altogether, okay? Is that cool? So we're going to get rid of that. You got it. Susan Wilson, she is reading from the same script. We are on the same page. So let's save that. Let's go back in here. Boom. And it magically disappears. So I'm just showing you that I opened the right file, edited the right thing, got rid of it. And now at this point, 7 seconds in, by the way, you could see it doing its pre-rendering. This is a brand new feature in After Effects. But now I can go ahead and start drawing. So I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm going to create a, do I even need a, yes, I typically do. Layer, new, shape layer. Created a new shape layer. So this is going to be the blood layer right here. Okay. And I have the pen tool selected from my tools up at the top. Right. Now we can start to draw this in. Click, click. Right. It's currently just set to oh, how are we going to do this? This is going to be interesting. We'll do that. All right, so let's change the fill. to red. Do we want to have it? Does it have a black outline? Let's get rid of the black outline. Click OK. Boom. Here's our blood. Okay, so what do we do? Put it behind or underneath the hand. There it is. Let's go to edit it. And just kind of smooth it out a little bit. It wouldn't really go like that. I'm having problems. Let's just kind of have it, let's just show you how to animate vectors, right? So we're going to animate these actual shapes right in here. So we have the content, we have the shape, and here we have the path itself. So let's turn on the path because that's where we're going to animate it. So maybe it does start. Oh. Selecting it I find to be difficult, and there might be an easier way. Okay, so you can see that morph. Zoop. The blood's going to form. This is going to be our little droplet. Goes kind of like this. And yeah. Yeah, I could use opacity, but you know what? Like, blood doesn't appear out of nowhere. It actually comes from a source. So it's going to be behind the hand. Okay. Right in here. I don't want it to exist until that point. So I'm going to grab this in the composition. I'm going to grab this timeline and say, you know what? Scrub that to there. Make sure it appears right there. Okay. So now, boop, like that. It's going to go like that. And we're going to play with the positions. We're going to turn on position. So now that I have the blood drop like created, now it can go down like that. So it gets created and then it drips down. Zoop. And that's where it's going to drip down and fall off the screen. And maybe we could do some more fun things with it. I don't know. I don't know, people. You think I know what I'm doing? I don't. Do any of us? People don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of like making it up as they go along. I'm no different. So you know what? It's okay to make mistakes too. It drips off really fast. So let's slow it up. Let's make sure it's underneath everything else. Except for the circle. And let's check it out. Hit the space bar. Like that. This rose is going to pull away. It has a mind of its own. So there we go. Easy ease. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. It's a vector animation. The color doesn't have to be realistic in your opinion. It matches the color of the rose. Yeah, I was going for a minimalist look. I almost liked the idea of this. Maybe it drips. Maybe this rose is a different color. This could drip and hit the center of the circle, and then the circle can change colors. Right? So those are, again, just like other ideas we could do within 5 minutes. And I kind of like that idea as well. But let's just see this play out real fast. Let's hit the tilde key. We will go to fit, and we'll hit the space bar. Start at the beginning. Tilde key, as long as this composition is selected, we'll bring that up full screen. So we can go ahead and go like that. Get the little prick. The blood drips. So that would be cool. So again, it's a little choppy. I like the idea of it hitting the bottom of the circle, and then there's a transition that happens. Okay, so let's do that. Oh yeah, all right, let's start a new project, Frank. Let's do it. So it's gonna drip down. Where is our blood? There it is. Hopefully you don't think this is morbid. It's going to drip down right there. That's where it's going to disappear. Okay, what is it? Command, closing. No, that's not it. I always get this option. Closing bracket will end the timeline right here. Okay, so option open bracket, closing bracket chops the timeline. Because we only want it to exist that far. It's going to drip down. It's going to hit the bottom there. And then we're going to have this beautiful circle do a fun animation. A single drop of blood can save lives. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Oh, okay. Oh, it hits the leaf with a splash. So yeah, that stuff's fun. I think I like the thought of the circle changing colors because it gets me to show you how to animate other things. So let's think about this. New shape layer. Draw this out. Take this, move this down. Take this. Okay. A couple things we could do here. Okay. Oh, you're all quiet waiting in anticipation. That's cool. I'm thinking of the best way to do this. So I have this red, and it's going to animate up. And so let's just do this. Let's flip these two. Okay, let's do this. All right, duplicating this, move this down. This is going to hurt your brain. Okay, you ready for your brain to be hurt? I don't mean to, but this is what's going to happen. Okay, and let's just turn this alpha matte. There we go. Okay, so this is what I want. I have the original circle is right here. Here's the blue one. Here's my shape layer that I just added, right? So this is the thing that's going to morph and change. Okay, but I want this circle to just be inside this blue circle. So I duplicated the blue circle and I put it on top. So now this is going to be treated like a mask. Can I double click and change this? Maybe not. Anyway, so this is going to be treated as the mask. So right down here, I just changed this to alpha matte circle, right? What just happened? Did I just delete something? Let's undo this. I just broke something. And I hate it when things... Oh, that I actually double-clicked on it. That's my fault. Okay, I'm back. Here we are. Here we are. I'm back. Okay, so here's the circle. We change this to alpha matte circle. There we are. That's in there. So now we can start to animate it. We'll go to the blood. We'll go hit U. We got to make sure this comes down right when it hits there. So that's when these two things are going to kick in right there. So shape layer, do your thing. We are going to transform its shape. So we're going to transform the ellipse position and stuff. Okay, well, I don't have time to do all this. But you can see where we're at. I'm going to animate this. You guys know how this is set up. Now I'm just going to animate this into place, right, real quickly. Like, let's do it. U, position, boom, boom, boom. There we are, and I'll move this into place. So cool. I am just seconds away from finishing, but I don't have even that much time. So thank you so much for watching. I will finish this up and show it to you, is the plan, at least in my next session. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. See you guys.